If according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit, you will put to death the deeds of the body, and then you will live. So another helpful distinction is that between God's antecedent will and his consequent will. God's antecedent will is what he wills for a person prior to considering how the person uses his or her freedom. So prior to that, God wills our salvation, each one of us. And that's why he offers sufficient grace to each one of us. But his God consequent will is what he wills after, logically, not temporarily after. We mean this because with God, okay, it's not that God wanted me to be saved, but then he was blindsided by my behavior. He didn't really know I will do this. Okay? God knows everything. Okay? Before, now, and after. For us, we look at it in terms of chronological time. So that's why we say logically, not temporarily after. So is what he wills after, considering how the person uses his or her freedom. For example, by his antecedent will, God wills that John be saved. But after considering John's obstinacy in sin, by his consequent will, allows John's damnation. Okay? So we can also distinguish between God's preferential will and his permissive will. The terms are self-explanatory. God's preferential will, what he prefers, refers to what he prefers. His permissive will, what he permits, to what he merely permits. So God's preferential will is that all humans be saved. That's what God would prefer. But by his permissive will, because of the use of our freedom, whether we decide to use, if we decide to use well or not, he allows those to be lost who freely choose to reject the salvation he offers them. Now that is significant. Who freely choose the salvation he offers. So freedom is a wonderful gift God has given to us, but also it's subject to much abuse. So we have to pray every day that we don't abuse the gift of freedom, to use it against the very God who offered it to us. Okay, so let's take a break.